so excited, my dear, about us being invited here to St. Cecilia's this evening.
Yes, I've heard it's supposed to have perfect acoustics.
Oh, utterly perfect, my dear.
I think it's important, if you possibly can, to pick somebody that has actually lived and that you can find something out about them, because then you can bring them back to life. And if people are really interested, they'll go home, they might look it up on the internet. It is important to remember that a gentleman always keeps a lady on his right side, his side of honour. The other important thing is remember that it is most refined to walk with your feet slightly splayed. So let us walk in as if we had just made an entrance into the room. I think Artemis is about showing people how others behaved in other periods of time. If you look at manners and etiquette and the way people say things, it's something that people understand. If you look at something that people know about, it could be food, it can be behaviour. Those two things people recognise instantly because it's things they do themselves. The other very important thing is in greeting people. Now, the letter Y is extremely common, as is H at the beginning of a word. So you would not say, how do you do? You would say, how do oo do. So would you like to repeat that after me? How do oo do? 1, 2, 3. How do oo do. Excellent. And your reply to that would be, I do as oo do. So I'll say I'll do oo do, and you can reply to me. I'll do oo do. I do as oo do.
I chose the character of Wes Diggs because he was an actor-manager, and I think they're fascinating because they're people who can move throughout society, and also because, and particularly in Edinburgh, they were people who did teach manners to the Scots, who sometimes got quite worked up about their manners. Sitting is very important for ladies. In fact, ladies should all attempt fine sitting. That is our aim. And fine sitting is about sitting meekly and submissively, and there should be no rolling of the eyes around the room to see who else is there. There are other ways of doing this. No fidgeting. No fidgeting.
I'm
no
warm.
sitting askew. You're warm, my dear.
Yes, that's why I'm using my fan. I'm not fidgeting. A lot of what I've done over the time is obviously about women's history, because kind of obvious why. But I think she was ahead of her time because she was also a manager of the Canongate Theatre. When Wes Diggs went down south, she managed the Canongate Theatre for him. So I think that's important. And I think it shows there were strong women then as well as now in the 21st century. I fear that as some of you are from the country, you may have some bad habits. Let me tell you once and for all, it is not the done thing in polite society here in Edinburgh to tip your tea into your saucer and drink it. I do not care if you do not like your tea hot. You are going to have to let it cool in its cup. It is certainly not to be slurped out of your saucer. As I want you to remember that when you're doing this, you are demonstrating that these are not the hands, ladies, that peel the potatoes, or gentlemen that dig the potatoes up. Now just remember as well, you're not trying to poke the eye out of the Duchess sitting next to you. So that's it, keep your elbows in, that's better. And drink. The other thing that would be helpful, I think, is if you all ladies see a corseteer, because you really need to sit up straight. That's better. Now let's try that again. It was about so you knew your place in society, because society is changing so much. You're beginning to get the growth of the middle classes. And the aristocracy want to have it quite obviously where they are still in society. And the middle class are wanting to move up the social standards as well, and they are beginning to acquire wealth, and the aristocracy don't quite know how to deal with them. So one of the ways they can do that is through the way they speak and the way they behave. And if you can't read the body language, you can't enter society. For the gentleman, it is suggested that he adopts a scornful look. He may raise an eyebrow, and for utter manliness, flare his nostrils. This showed great manliness. Now, gentlemen, I think you should practice that. Come on, let's see you.
Very good, my dear. Yes, there is scorn personified. The recall of people is much greater when they have actually participated in something. And I think we feel that's important as well, that people are actually not sitting there just absorbing what you tell them, but they're taking part in it as well, and they're part of that interpretation. Rather than reading something on a wall or being told something, they're part of it.
The last thing in polite society that anybody wants to see is your breath in the glass. So you certainly don't grab it like that and go, and as you see, it's all steamed up and horrible. What you do is you hold it between your thumb and these two fingers, like that. You breathe in, you take a sip, you swallow, and you breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. And there you see, the glass is completely clear. That is how you drink claret. Now, if you were perhaps in a large room, this would particularly be the case of the assembly room, and there was a gentleman on the other side of the room who you had been having some conversation with, and he had moved away round the other side of the room, but you really wanted him to come back and speak to you, then this is what you would do. You would open your fan, looking at him, but you would open your fan very, 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 very slowly, looking at him all the time. And even if he didn't get the message, somebody beside him would indicate that that was the case. Of course, fan up here and he knows to come running to your side. Excellent. It might well be that you are sitting at the tea table and you're engaging in conversation, it's all going swimmingly well. And you think, do you know, I am in love. You open your fan and you place it underneath your heart. We're going to imagine that the gentleman has been with you some time, but unfortunately, he has made an improper suggestion. You need to let the other ladies know in the room that you require their help. And for this you adopt what is known as the angry flutter. That's it. And believe me, every lady will come to your assistance.
This was possibly one of our finest, my dear.
I think you're right, darling.
And did you see the look on that lady in the gallery?
Yes, she was quite envious of my acting skills, I thought.
She was very envious. She came by sedan chair.
Did she really?
She did
She got
indeed.
inside a sedan chair?
Absolutely.